Good day to everyone. My name is Kurt Luis Marcel, and may we introduce as member of a group 4. Let me present our presentation, the two different ethnic groups of Northern Luzon. So let us start this presentation.
What is IFUGAO? The term is derived from Ipugo, which means earth people, mortals or humans, as distinguished from spirits and deities. It also means from the hill, as Pugo means hill. The term Igorot or Igolet was the term used by Spanish conquerors for mountain people. The Ifugaos, however, prefer the name Ifugao. The Ifugao people are ethnic group who live in the province of Ifugao, Lagawe, Aguinaldo, Alfonso Lista, Asipulo, Banawe, Ingyon, Ungan, Kingwan, Lamut, and Mayoyaw and Tino are among the municipalities where they live. With a land area of approximately 251,778 hectares, or around 0.8% of the total land Philippine area. The province is one of the smallest in the Philippines. In 1995, the Ifugaos had a population of 131,635, while the bulk of them remain in Ifugao. Some have relocated to Baguio, where they work as wood carvers and other parts of Caldera.
The Ifugaos built the rice terraces for many reasons, but mostly to provide foods for their families. When they built these thousands of years ago, they only had the basic tools, but the Ifugao managed to create an engineering marvel rice terraces sustained by an elaborate irrigation system. With the majority, with at least 84% of their diet is derived from agriculture, most of it is from the wet fields. 10% is from the fish, clams, snails living into those wet fields. The Ifugao grow taro, cotton, beans, radishes, cabbages, and peas in those same fields, but they raise sweet potatoes and corn also elsewhere in sweetened fields. A man's status depends on his rice field. Irrigation is accomplished by dikes and sluices. Pond fields range in size from just a few square meters to more than 1 hectare, the average size being 270 square meters. Additional for that is a Sweden agriculture and wet rice cultivation on terraced mountainsides are two main economic activities of Ifugao, which approximately 75% laboring as farmers. Small animal husbandry is an important source of protein. Ifugao farmers also manage family-owned forests. Talk about their political system. Ifugaos have little in the way of political system or institutionalized community. There are no chiefs or councils. They live in clan groups that extend to the third cousin, and the reason for this is obviously there is an enormous gap between the perceptions of government education sectors and those of indigenous people. More than that, its transformative nature, indigenous pedagogy should be manifested as enhancing human cultural development and the mental well-being of indigenous people. It should be engender a strong sense of ethnic affiliation and prepare indigenous people to be proactive advocates of cultural diversity, an element that can help promote peace in communities. In order for pedagogical approaches to be meaningful, the foundations of learning should cultivate a sense of appreciation for culture and allow critical exploration of both traditional and scientific concepts and inquiry. A typical household consists of a nuclear family. Once children are old enough to take care of themselves, they move to the boys' house or the girls' house. Ifugao society is organized into 3 divisions based on traditional wealth measures such as rice land, water buffalo, and slaves. Kandangayan, a class of nobles, also advises the village on moral and legal concerns and lends money. A hardwood seat against the stilts serves as a distinguishing feature of their homes. They show off their affluence by paying for festival and owning valuable items like hornbill, headdresses, gold beads, swords, gongs, and antique Chinese jars. And lastly, the Natumuk, who own a small plot of land, while the impoverished live beneath the Kandangayan. These groups are frequently forced to take out high interest loans from the Kandangayan and become bonded to them. The poorest of the poor are the Nawatwar. The majority of them work as tenant farmers and Kandanayan servants.
Ifugao marriage and families. In Ifugao, monogamy is the norm. Monogamy is the standard marriage, or you can only marry one wife. However, some wealthy households practice polygyny. Polygyny means, like Muslim, you can marry more than one wife. First, cousins are included in the incest bans. Marriage to a distant relative can only arrange once livestock penalties have been paid. It is usual for potential couples to have trial weddings. At the girl's home, courtship rituals take place. Marriage between wealthy families have always been arranged through middlemen. After the wedding, families share presents and retain close ties. Newlyweds frequently live with their parents for a while before settling down in their own place, which is often near a vast rice paddy. Second, if a divorce is contested, it can take place by mutual consent or with the payment of damages. Governments or no children, cruelty, desertion, and change of attachment are all grounds for divorce. Traditionally, all property is passed on the children. Widows and widowers can only remarry after making a payment to the relatives of the deceased spouse. Property may be inherited by both sexes, with the firstborn receiving the largest shares. Illegitimate children receive financial support only from their father but are not entitled to inherit anything. The men are responsible for building and maintaining the terraces, while the women plant, weed, and harvest the rice. The women use wooden pestles and stone mortars to pound their rice into shape dictated by the ancient tradition. Women also spend many hours weaving fabrics that are unique to their village. Children are carried around by both men and women in scarves knotted around their bodies. As you can see, Ifugao marriage and families are similar to us, but different in other aspects. Like their marriage, they considered polygyny as a practice of their marriage tradition. And they also wear some traditional clothes in weddings. And also, women is spend a lot of hour in working because men is trained only or responsible for building or maintaining the terraces, while women spend a lot of hours because they plant, they harvest the rice, and also weave the fabrics.
Rice culture in Ifugao is centered, which is regarded as a prestige crop from rice production to rice consumption. There is a sophisticated and complicated array of rice culture feasts closely tied with taboos and detailed agricultural ceremonies. Harvest season necessitates lavish Thanksgiving feasts, while the harvest ceremonies of Tungo and Tungul, the day of rest they call it, demand a stringent prohibition on any agricultural work during the celebrations and religious events. The consumption of rice wine, or they could call them baya, rice cakes, and moma, a concoction of many herbs, powdered snail shells, and betel nut, a reculin used as a chewing gum by the Ifugaos. It's an incredible practice. The main sources of income are agricultural, terracing, and farming, and Carabaos used to determine their social position, or they call them water buffaloes. Time and tradition also help to impart prestige. In Ifugao, the orifices of the body are blocked once a person dies and the body is placed in a death chair. A corpse tender awakens the body each night by placing it in front of a fire that may last up to 13 days depending how affluent a person is. The burial takes place in a family sepulchre or in coffins in a mausoleum beneath the home. And the second burial is often performed especially when illnesses and calamities are attributed to the deceased, restlessness, and unhappiness. Male and females are buried separately in some Ifugao communities, while children naman is interned in some jars.
Ifugao clothes. Ifugao and Ilocano women have historically worn a white short-sleeved top and loose striped jacket with short, tight-fitting hand-woven skirts with colorful horizontal stripes. They used to walk about barefoot and wear colorful band around their heads. Some guys still dress in loincloths and walk around barefoot. On the mountain trails, they are very sure-footed, for toes and feet hold the rocks like pitcher's hand gripping a baseball. The Ifugao clothes symbolizes their pride and reflects their culture on what they are doing and what they are practicing.
About half of all Ifugaos have embraced Christianity, but their animist beliefs have been absorbed into their Christian beliefs. The Ifugao have traditionally believed their lives were ruled by spirits called anitos. Many Ifugaos still believe the universe was divided into 5 levels. At the top is the heavens, which itself has 4 superimposed heavens. Beneath it is Fugao, the known land. Below is the underworld, and there is also the world upstream and the world downstream. There's just half of the Ifugaos who have embraced Christianity. Basically, they still claim that they are being ruled by the Anitos. They still believe in the existence of 5 levels in the universe.
There are around 1,500 important spirits. They have precise locations in the IFUGAO universe that carry with them specific roles and duties. They cover almost of every aspects of life: the war, peace, fishing, weaving, rain, disease, and so on. In addition to spirits, there are deities who are immortal and have the power to change form. There is no one supreme God, which has made it easy for the IFUGAO to accept Christianity and not have the Christian God in competition with the spirits of their traditional religion. So, ang mga Ifugao people ay kilala bilang isang pagano. Ito ay isang katawagan sa igorot sa mga naniniwala na mayroon daw 1,500 espiritu, na kung saan ang mga espiritu na ito ay nahati-hati sa kanilang sariling mga tungkulin, sa kalawakan. And as we observe today, there are many Ifugao people who has became Christians. This was usually happens due to a reason that Ifugao people didn't consider any of the 1,500 spirits as a supreme gods. That's why they are easy to convert by any religions.
Ifugao Festival. Can leaders wear headdress embellished with wild pig tusks, hornbill, and beaks? And monkey skulls during ceremonies honoring the anitors, or what we call spirits. The hornbill is thought to represent a good messenger, while the monkey is a comedic sign. The monkey skull on the headdress must face the same direction as the person wearing it, according to custom and tradition. Kankanai is a South Central Cordilleran language under the Austronesian family spoken on the island of Luzon in the Philippines, primarily by the Kankanaey people. Alternate names for the language include Central Kankanaey, Kankanai, and Kankanai. Kankanaey people. Kankanaey people are indigenous peoples of northern Philippines. They are the part of the collective group of indigenous people known as the Igorot people. Northern Kankanaey. The Northern Kankanaey, or the Abay, are the language group who inhabit in the western mountain provinces of Sagada and Pasay. They were said they have originated from migrating tribe from Asia who landed on the Pangasinan beaches before traveling to Cordillera. According to various theory, has been subsequently debunked, with Felix Kissing speculating that the people who are merely trying to avoid the Spanish, disinvay which consists of the father, mother, and the children. Their society is divided into two classes: the Hangdayan, who are the leaders who inherit the authority, genealogy, and intermarriage, and also Kado, who constitute the rest of the population. Poor, bilateral kinship is what they practice. One of the Cordilleras entomologistic group is Southern Tantanai, inhabit in the mountain province and Benguet mountainous areas, notably in the municipalities of Tadian, Baco, Sabangan, Bahon, and Kibungan. Due to their bilateral kinship, they are generally a nuclear family type, which are the patrilocal or matrilocal. They're made up of the husband, wife, and their offspring. His decent group, and once he's married, his final kinsmen make up two Southern Kankanae's kinship. Their society is separated into two classes based on the land ownership: rich and poor. The Bacanang are the most important landowners to whom the Abitek provide services. The Mankayan Kankanaeys, on the other hand, make no distinction between Bacanang and Abitek. All have equal access to copper and gold. Kankanae's economy. The main economic activity of the northern Kankanaeys is wet rice agriculture, with some fields worked twice a year and others only once due to too much water or little water. Tupeng, which is planted in June and July and harvested in November and December, and Igunolot, which is planted in November to December and harvested in June to July, are two varieties of rice. Kamote is also grown by northern Kankanaeys. Kamote delicacies include dried kamotes, boko, which are thinly cut kamote slices that can be steamed or served as is and sweetened with honey. These are fantastic rice replacements that may be chopped into tiny pieces and added to rice before cooking to blend in the sweetness. Climbing squash, cucumber, and other vines are also planted. They also hunt and fish small fishes and eel, which is a special delicacy when cooked. Crabs are also caught to make tengba, a gravy of pounded rice mixed with crabs, salted and placed in jars to age. This common viand of every household and is eaten during childbirth. Kankanae's religion. The northern Kankanaeys believe in many supernatural beliefs and omens, and in gods and spirits like the Anito, or soul of the dead, and nature spirits. They also have various rituals such as the rituals for courtship, marriage, and death, and burial.
The Kankanaey, like most Igorot ethnic groups, created sloping terraces to optimize farmland in the Cordillera administrative region's difficult terrain. So it means not only the Ifugao people or other IP groups had practices the rice terraces. Halimbawa dun sa Kalinga yung Banawi rice terraces. Kankanaey people has been also practiced this kind of tradition since it is one of their source of living until today. Cultures of Kankanaey. The Kankanaey dress differently from other people. The soft-spoken Kankanaey women's clothing is made up of black, white, and red colors. The apparel is designed in a crisscross pattern of black, white, and red colors. The tapis or skirt is made up of black, white, and red stripes. So, the clothes of Kankanai people was quietly similar to the other groups of Igorot. Likas sa kanila ang magsuot ng tapis, or in some other parts of Kankanai, they called it as iton, while the man's cloth was called as wanas in Sagada area of Mountain Province. While in hard-speaking Kankanai, woman clothes was red and black with a few white versions. Their tapis is called as bagkut or gating. But because of adaptation from other countries and evolution happens, hindi na nila madalas ginagamit sa pang-araw-araw ang kanilang tradisyon na kasuotan. They only use it when there is an occasion to be held like festivals, rituals, marriage, and etc. Meron din silang mga sinasayaw kapag may mga kasalan o okasyon. Ito ay tinatawag nilang tayaw at patong. The Kankanaey, who are collectively referred to as Igorot, have a long burial practice. It involves laying the deceased in their homes for 3 days. On the 3rd day, the deceased is made to sit on a chair. Kankanaey traditions about death and burial is different and unique from other groups of IPs. In Sagada area, they usually put the dead person into chair para daw mas mabilis mailagay yung patay sa hang coffin. Hang coffins, ito ay tinatawag din cave burial. This was totally done through bayanihan. But in some cases, especially in parts of La Union, Kankanaey people there was usually practiced to bury the dead person at their own establishment. Hindi na sila pumupunta sa sementeryo. Kankanaey people has also beliefs about deaths, such as shouting into the valleys where the coffin's put is prohibited, because according to them, it was disrespectful to the dead persons, unless you are a member of the deceased persons. Additionally, Kankanaey people did not go or visit the dead person, but they, every undas, hindi nila binibisita yung mga patay. But they usually do the cooking as a way of welcoming their ancestors into their homes. Kankanaey families believe that husbands are the heads of the family and elders should be well respected in the community. So, katulad din sa Tagalog group, sa Kankanaey din, ang lalaki ay siyang nagsisilbing haligi ng tahanan, na kung saan sila dapat yung magdedesisyon sa mga bagay-bagay, habang ang ina naman ay nagsisilbing ilaw ng tahanan. They also practice in their community yung tinatawag nating being respectful to the elders. The marriage customs of the Kankanaey are similar to the Ibaloys. They practice parental marriage. When it comes to the marriage practices, Kankanaey people had also undergo of what we call parental marriage, wherein the man starts to visit the girl of his choice and singing daing. Daing yung tawag nila sa pagkanta. And serenading the girl with instruments. This practice was gradually fading today because of the changes happens. Then the next stage is when the parents of the girl was agreed on their marriage. They usually do the exchange work, wherein the boy should do the pangangahoy or pagbabalsig as a way of showing his sincerity. And after that, they will undergo to the last stage of marriage, wherein doon na nagkakaroon ng malaking pagtaraos. Pagkatay ng baboy ay hindi nawawala sa kanilang tradisyon, dahil simula pa noon ay ito na ang itinuturo ng kanilang mga sinaunang ninuno. Kankanaey people has usually practiced preparing plenty of foods. They called it as what in Kankanaey. Like what other groups, Kankanaey also practice and believe that couples are not allowed to separate when the child is born, and adultery is forbidden. They practice bilateral kinship. The northern Kankanaeys believe in many supernatural beliefs and omens, and in gods and spirits like the Anito. So, Kankanaey people was believed into Anito and nature spirits. Anito means ito yung mga espiritong nanananahan sa mga sapa, gubat, puno at lahat ng mga likas na bagay. Ilan sa mga itinuturing nilang Diyos ay sina Lumawig, na kung saan sinasabi nila na ito daw ang gumawa ng kalawakan at nagbibigay ng buhay sa lahat. And Masakon, who considered as the ruler of the underworld, who also interrupted the Timugan brothers. Ngunit sa kasalukuyan ay may mga Kankanaey people na rin na na-convert into Christian's life. May mga kanya-kanya ng sekta o relihiyon kinamibinlangan nila tulad ng Katoliko, born again at iba pa. So those are the two different ethnic groups of Luzon in Cordillera region. To sum up our report, Ifugao and Kankanaey are both from the Igorot group. They are quietly similar to each other in terms of traditions and culture, which still remains and practiced until today. So that's the end of our reporting. We hope that we have discussed well about the two ethnic groups.